Let's give him the praise. Deuteronomy 6:4. Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God. Yeah. Let's give him the praise. Deuteronomy 6:4. Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God is one Lord. Shema Yahshua Yahweh Allahayana Yahweh Shema Yahshua Yahweh Allahayana Yahweh. Let's go. Every day is a blessing. I'ma give you praise from all we go through in our meditation. No greater love than you, the rebuke we take. No other God before you. Don't do the pain. Revelation 1:14. Don't do the graving. On the Sabbath day we rest. We don't do complaining. You hear that murmur in the wilderness, he gets it straight. Hear that murmur in the wilderness, he gets it straight. That is what he wants from you. Yahweh, anything you say we do. Everything in your word is true. It's true. It's true. Yeah. So we owe it all to you. So we owe it all to you. In the praise we give it all to you. We can say Israel, you don't want to go. One Lord, one Lord. Yahshua, Yahweh, Allahayana, Yahweh, Yahshua, Yahweh, Allahayana, Yahweh. We gon' give him praise, we gon' give him praise. Taste the east when we pray, we gon' move in faith. Say the prayers of the righteous abide as much. Put our trust in the Father, got the Midas touch. We gon' lead by example, with the God's touch. 1 Timothy 4:20, Spirit God in us. And we gon' cast away the flesh, Spirit abide in us. And we gon' cast the flesh down, Spirit abide in us. Yahweh, anything you say and do, everything in your word is true. It's true, it's true, it's true. Yeah. Go we owe it all to you. Go we owe it all to you. In the praise we give it all to you. Say Israel, you don't want to go. One Lord, one Lord, one God. Shema, Yahshua, Yahweh, Allahayana, Yahweh, Shema, Yahshua, Yahweh, Allahayana, Yahweh. One Lord, one Lord.
Shabbat Shalom, everybody online, everybody here in class. This is the Hebrew Chosen Elect Sabbath service. We have every week, usually from 1 to 4 p.m. Bit of a late start, so our apologies. First, we're going to start by giving all praise, glory, and honor to Yahweh by Hashem Mashiach Yahweh Shai. And then we're also going to first do our announcements. first up for our announcements is with the holiday, America's holiday season already started. I'm gonna start the announcements off actually with Jonah 2:8, and the book of Jonah chapter 2 verse 8 states, "They that observe lying vanities forsake their own mercy." So, being now true believers and understanding the truth as Israelites, it's commanded that we come out of these holidays and observe the holidays that the Most High Yahweh gave us, that you find all throughout the Bible, and mainly Leviticus chapter 23, with exception to Purim and the Feast of Dedication, I believe. So the scripture says, when you observe these lying vanities, you forsake your own mercy. So all this mercy that the Christian church talks about in Christ coming to die for us and bringing grace and mercy, all those things are null and void when you're a so-called believer in Christ, but you follow Christmas, Easter, Halloween, Thanksgiving coming up. These are all lying vanities. Happy Valentine's Day, Happy New Year, 4th of July, St. Patrick's Day, all lying vanities that were made up by your oppressor to keep you in sin and keep the Most High Yahweh angry at his people, who is you so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native American Indians.
Like, even if you celebrate like Carnival and you're in the Caribbean, it's modeled after the Feast of Bacchus, and you can see that it takes place in the book of Maccabees, where they were forced to do it and they were going in a procession. And if you look and you read in the book of Maccabees, it shows that they were forced to do it. They were also forced to celebrate the king's birthday, the 8th day of the month every year. And that's where we got the celebration of our birthdays from. So it was a tradition that we wasn't keeping before we went into the Greek captivities. And Proverbs 3:31, it tells us to envy thou not our oppressor and to choose none of their ways. So we have to put off all of their customs and go back to our law, statutes, commandments, and keep our feast days and refine our culture.
So yeah, no Thanksgiving, no thanks, no giving, no Thanksgiving, no Christmas. What we are to uphold is usually our first announcements, and we're going to get right to it. High holy days. So the upcoming high holy days and new moons, the dates we keep as a camp, we'll be keeping Hanukkah December 26th. December 26th, we'll be keeping the Feast of Hanukkah. You can find that in the book of Acts. You find Yahushua, Acts, right?
That's in John.
John. You find Yahushua, who the world calls Jesus Christ, keeping the Feast of Hanukkah. You also find it in the book of Maccabees. When we get closer to that feast day, we'll do a class for anybody that's new or still searching for more understanding. You know, we always around this time go through these classes because, you know, repetition is good.
Slovakia. Even before that, when we go into the book of Maccabees, what you're seeing is a rededication after the Gentiles came through and they trodden down the temple. And in the beginning, you can go to the book of Kings and you can see King Solomon dedicating the temple to the Most High. And Christ, what you see in the book of John, chapter 10, 21 and 22, it actually says that Christ was on Solomon's porch, and it was the Feast of Dedication, and it was winter. So that lets you know he was not celebrating Christmas during that time, but he was indeed celebrating the Feast of Dedication.
And the next new moon that we look forward to celebrating as a camp, we're going to be having that as the date December 2nd. All these dates are in line with the, I always say it, the Masha Yasha'Allah. So if once again, if you're new and you know the other camps are a couple days before and you're wondering why, that's the difference maker. So, whatever you do, keep the feast. We'll always, Israelites, get the facts and the definite times when Yahushua comes back. Until then, hey, just keep them. And shoot, if you know somebody that's keeping it a couple days before and they invite you, go keep it with them. Keep it both days.
Yep.
Right? New moon anyway means new month. So no matter what particular day it is, it's still a new month starting. Celebrate it. You find in the book of Samuel, Saul had a feast multiple nights. Multiple nights he was feasting for the new moon. So, keep new moon. We're recognizing it December 2nd, lucky, next new moon. Then January 1st after that. So we got December 2nd new moon, Hanukkah, December 26th, which is an 8-day feast, and then Purim, the next feast, major feast will be Purim. That's in March.
Con, and if you miss like giving if you were out in the world and you miss giving gifts to your children around Christmas time, Purim is that time to give portions to your children. Yeah, I mean that's what we did. We were celebrating us not being hung on gallows and the gallows being turned on Haman and his family all throughout the provinces during the Persian Empire. You know, and the Most High using Mordecai and Queen Esther Hadassah to deliver us from the hand of Haman the Agagite. You know what I mean? So we gave portions to each other and gifts in reverence to that. So if you want to do that and give gifts during that time, that's the perfect time to do it.
Yeah, giving to the poor, all these things they do with Christmas. Everything they do, they copied off of us and then they flip it. That's why Scripture says, "Who turned the truth of God into a lie?" So they take all these feast days and they make their own. And we even did it one time too when we was in our wickedness. Israel did. Jeroboam, he set up his own feast day to get Northern Kingdom from returning to Jerusalem. But that's a whole nother story. Next up, we have the Salakia. How do I get rid of that? There we go. Next announcement, our upcoming coat drive and giveaway. So every year, this is the 6th annual. Every year we do a coat drive and give away coats here in the Wilmington, Delaware area, usually North Wilmington, 24th and Market Street. Probably might be the same place again. We haven't set the location yet. Date is usually around Hanukkah, which is around December 20th, 21st, 4th. It'll probably be the same time, but we haven't set the exact date with that either, but look forward to that coming up. Until then, we're taking donations for this coat drive. You can give donations of coats, winter apparel, hats, gloves, thermals, whatever. Donations of blankets, anything that'll help somebody in need of these things stay warm through the winter. Good. We're taking all those donations. We also take cash donations in person if that's how you want to give and you come and congregate. We take cash. Our main source of taking monetary donations, though, is Cash App. You can send your monetary donations via Cash App at hashtag BDANI01. And that's separate from our Hebrew Chosen Elect Cash App for donations to support the ministry. This one is for the coat drive. And when you send your donation, hashtag it. Earmark it. Give it all you got, coat drive, or just coat drive. But make sure it's earmarked, something to let us know this donation is for the coat drive.
And just to let me back off of what Gabar is saying, we do also traditionally pass bag lunches along with the coat drive as well. So if you would like to give maybe a donation of a box of hugs or juices or something like that, or maybe a box of chips, a variety pack, that will help us too to be able to distribute that throughout the community as well. So if you want to give something like that to help us and our mission, we'd appreciate that too as well.
Okay. So that's all for the coat drive. Next, we'll get into ways that you can contact and follow us. So as you see on the screen, we have up our Facebook accounts where you can contact us through Messenger, or if you just want to keep up with what we post or whatever. You can find me at We Are Israel, Gemaria Yashala. You can find the brother Yakinan here at Brandon Daniels, parentheses Yakinan Maccabee Yashala. And we have our the images up, which you'll see in case there's other names pop up. Just look for these images with the names, and that's how you can just send a request, and we'll accept the request, and then you can message us, or if you want to get our phone numbers when and you want communicate that way, just message us in the messenger and ask for our phone numbers, and then we'll give it instead of just posting it on here. So you can get the phone numbers, but first go through here and request them. Unless you meet us in person, we usually swap numbers with whoever we come in contact with if they're, trying to do that. In the middle, this is our Facebook group in the middle, the Rise of the Chosen. You can follow us on that group page, request to join, and we usually, if you're Israelites, we usually accept your request to join the group. So, if you're watching, please do so. Send a request, join the group, and follow us those ways on Facebook. YouTube, like and subscribe, and share our content on YouTube if you could, and if you're a follower. It helps further the teaching and the ministry. Our YouTube channels are ACE Red Pill Reality. That's where we're live today. We go live on Shabbat at ACE Red Pill Reality. And if you're watching on Facebook and you want to switch over, you can switch over. Or if you just want to find our old Shabbat lessons, they're all saved on YouTube. So then our other channel is HCE Reloaded. You find some classes, and I think we got some street speakings on there, and we'll probably be uploading more street speakings. But either way, check out both the channels. Plenty of edifying content. So if you could, we appreciate it when you subscribe to us, like and share the video. That's all I got on announcements. So let me clear this out. Clear that out. Okay. Yeah. So today with the the America's holiday season and the upcoming, probably their favorite holiday for even blacks and Native American Indians, crazy enough, love more than the people that started this holiday, but it's the celebration and the slaughtering of our ancestors, and oh, how we love it. But yeah, with that being said, so the next couple of weeks, this will be our no thanks, and you see it on the shirt, no thanks, no giving series that we're going to do leading up to Thanksgiving. No thanks, no giving series. So today we're going to be starting this series off with the lesson is going to be it's not going to be who are, it's going to be the breaking down the Native American Indians from North, South, and Caribbean are the lost tribes of the children of Israel. We're going to be proving that through history, archaeology, and also the Bible itself. This first installment there'll be scriptures in the class, but it'll be mainly history and some archaeology that we're digging into today, showing that even the people that came over here and slaughtered our people, the Europeans who are the Edomites, they knew who they were putting in slavery, who they were slaughtering, and whose land they were taking. They knew who the people were, and they proved this by leaving documentation for us to unearth and read and see. They knew these are the Israelites. They knew and then also the Bible, everything we teach as Israelites today, everybody tries to dispute. Everybody wants to knock us and, hate on our doctrine and our beliefs. The Bible proves it as well. So history proves it. The Bible proves it. Archaeological evidence proves it. And we're going to prove it to our viewers today without a shadow of a doubt that the Native American Indians of North, South America, and the Caribbean are the Israelites, and also the so-called black man, so-called African Americans are also Israelites of the Southern Kingdom. We're going to prove that without a shadow of a doubt, and a segment dedicated to that as well for the Southern Kingdom, because as we know, the two kingdoms were separated. But yeah, that's going to be upcoming as well. So if anybody's new to the channel and doesn't know, the so-called Blacks, Hispanics, and Native American Indians of North, South America, and the Caribbean are the children of Israel. And we're going to break it down and prove it today. With that, let me share my page. As usual, if anybody has questions, raise your hands. You want to throw in the scripture, we'll get to it right quick. But first, today, this class, I want to start off with, just to get a little bit of biblical history, I want to start off with the book of Hosea, chapter 1. Book of Hosea, chapter 1. And this is why the northern kingdom, 10 tribes of the northern kingdom are referred to as the lost 10 tribes of Israel. Because Israel once was a kingdom of 12 tribes, and then it was split in two because the northern kingdom, the 10 tribes of the northern kingdom, were cut off by the Most High. First it was split. We're not going to go into that history, but first it was split when Solomon went off. As a punishment, the Most High Yahweh, he took the 10 tribes and put their own king over top of them. And then the remaining tribes fell to the descendants of David.
Cool.
Because David was so loved by the Most High, he wouldn't completely take away the kingdom from his sons, even though Solomon went off. So after that time, this is how they became the lost 10 tribes. The Most High cut them off because even though we both was wicked and in idolatry, they was really wicked and in idolatry and really pissed off the Most High, where he cut them off altogether. This is where you get first Israelites being Gentiles, not Israel no more. They were totally cut off. So go ahead and start that from the top. Book of Hosea, chapter 1. We're going to kind of breeze through this and just show that. And then let's get it.
The book of Hosea, chapter 1, verse 1. The word of Yahweh that came unto Hosea, the son of Beeri, in the days of Uzziah, Jotham, Ahaz, and Hezekiah, kings of Judah, and in the days of Jeroboam, the son of Joash, king of Israel. The beginning of the word of Yahweh by Hosea. And the power said to Hosea, go take unto thee a wife of whoredom.
Salaki, what we just read, he was sent to the king of Israel, not Judah. The king of Israel. Go, keep going.
Go take unto thee a wife of whoredoms and children of whoredoms. For the land have committed great whoredom, departing from Yahweh. Mm-hmm. So he went and took Gomer, the daughter of Diblaim, which conceived and bare him a son. And Yahweh said unto him, call his name Jezreel, for yet a little while, and I will avenge the blood of Jezreel upon the house of Jehu, and will cause to cease the kingdom of the house of Israel.
So this is the first one. He's going to cause the kingdom to cease. Go ahead.
And it shall come to pass at the day that I will break the bow of Israel in the valley of Jezreel. Mm-hmm. And she conceived again and bare a daughter. And Yahweh said unto him, call her name Loramiah, for I will no more have mercy upon the house of Israel, but I will utterly take them away.
No more have mercy, because when we would go off and go into captivity, he would what? He would have mercy and bring us back. No more for the kingdom of Israel. I'm gonna just end the kingdom, and I'm gonna take away my mercy of bringing them back as a kingdom. Go ahead.
But I will have mercy upon the house of Judah. It will save them by Yahweh their power, and I will not save them by bow, nor by sword, nor by battle, by horses, nor by horsemen. Now, when she had weaned Lorahama.
But see there, so that's why, okay, Judah will keep mercy. He'll still deal with Judah, but I'm cutting off Israel, two different kingdoms. And the northern kingdom, that's Israel, because of, if they obviously are north of the kingdom of Judah. So the southern kingdom is Judah, who he said he'll keep dealing with, even though he's still going to keep dealing in punishments. It's not as bad as Israel. Israel is worse, and he's cutting them off altogether. Go ahead.
She conceived and bare a son. Then said Yahweh, call his name Lo-Ami, for ye are not my people, and I will not be your power. Salaki.
You got to read verse 8.
Now, when she had weaned Lo-Ami, she conceived and bare a son. Then said Yahweh, call his name Lo-Ami, for ye are not my people, and I will not be your power.
Now you're not Israel no more. You're not my people no more, and I'm not your God. This is when they became the lost tribes of the children of Israel. Time? All right. Keep going.
Yet the number of the children of Israel shall be as the sand of the sea.
Oh, hold up. But they're not totally destroyed. This is future tense. In the last days, it's talking about, through other precepts here and there, here and there. They will be as the number of the sand of the sea. Keep going.
Yet the number of the children of Israel shall be as the sand of the sea, which cannot be measured nor numbered. And it shall come to pass that in the place where it was said unto them, ye are not my people, there it shall be said unto them, ye are the sons of the living power.
Go ahead.
Then shall the children of Judah and the children of Israel be gathered together, and appoint themselves one head, and they shall come up out of the land, for great shall be the day of Jezreel.
So what's that show? And that day is going to be both Judah and Israel there in the same land, going through the same oppression. And from there, they'll be gathered. So that's why the 10 tribes was referred to as the 10 lost tribes, because he cut them all the way off. But through the other precepts, we know he still promised that in the end, he was going to even bring them back together. But today's class ain't on that. But we are in the last days, and we know that the so-called blacks or the Southern Kingdom and the Native American Indians, North, South, and Caribbean are the 10 tribes of the nation of Israel. And this is the place where both these people groups were told, you're not the Israelites. You're not the people of God. But through their own history, when they came over here, they knew they were. And they documented it, and then they made it their mission to hide that. Right? We find that in Psalms 83. Same. So with the black, so-called blacks, so-called Puerto Ricans, Native Americans, all these people groups, North America, South America, they knew who we were, and they came together with crafty counsel to make us forget that. But today, it's all coming to light. So we're going to drop that and get to the class. So today, mainly we'll
the book of Jeremiah, chapter 50, 33, and 34.
All right.
Just to land me back off what you were saying.
Mm-hmm. $50.
Yep, 50, 33, 34.
Mm-hmm. Okay. You can get it.
The book of Jeremiah, chapter 50, 33, and 34. Thus saith Yahweh of hosts, the children of Israel and the children of Judah were oppressed together, and all that took them captives held them fast. They refused to let them go. Their Redeemer is strong. Yahweh That's just to give prophecy that we was going to be oppressed together in the same land again. And this is the show that is talking about this Babylon. You know what I mean? Not the land of Babylon, because we went into the land of Babylon as Judah.
Right. Exactly. Kind of. So the natives of North, South America, and Caribbean are descendants of 10 lost tribes of Israel. Let's start off with the book of 2nd Ezra, chapter 13, verse 39 to 46. Like I said, we'll be going through some of the Bible, mostly historical accounts that they left when they came over here. But this is going to show biblically it was prophesied that the northern kingdom of Israel would be in a land that's never been inhabited. And what did the Europeans call this world when they came here? The New World. Because all the rest of the world, what's it called? We're on the Western Hemisphere, the Eastern Hemisphere. There wasn't no uninhabited lands. Everybody knew those lands. The land that wasn't inhabited was this land over here. So when you got it, start at verse 39.
The book of 2nd Ezra, chapter 13, verse 39. And whereas thou saw that he gathered another peaceable multitude unto him. Mm-hmm. Those are the 10 tribes which were carried away prisoners out of their own land in the time of Hosea.
Which is Hosea, which we just read. Go ahead. Well, actually, Hosea was the prophet, but the king that they got taken away during that time was also named Hosea. Salakia. Go ahead.
Whom Salmanazar, the king of Assyria, led away captive, and he carried them over the waters, and so came they into another land. But they took this counsel among themselves, that they would leave the multitude of the heathen, and go forth into a further country, where never mankind dwelt, that they might keep their statutes, which they never kept in their own land. Mm-hmm. And they entered into the Euphrates by the narrow places of the river. For the Most High then showed signs for them, and had still the flood till they were passed over.
Mm-hmm. And what it means to hold still the flood till they were passed over, that just means keep the water still. So everybody knows, like, if you work in the boating industry, like you're a fisherman or whatever, you go out on them waters, it gets really bad out there. And they had a far way to go. So the Most High had distilled in water so that, they survived the journey. So the Most High provided them a nice, smooth, like the saying goes, gave them smooth sailing. That's what it means to hold still the flood. Go ahead.
For through that country there was a great way to go, namely of a year and a half. And the same region is called Azareth.
So it was a year and a half journey. They came through the Euphrates on the east. I meant to put a map. I forgot to put the map up, so I ain't gonna be able to pull it up. But they came down the Euphrates out into what's, I think, the Indian Ocean, whatever's on the eastern side of Africa, and they came down around Africa and into the Caribbean or South America. But that's where they started. That's why when the Europeans came over here, they found like millions of people there. Then when you get to the further away to the colder areas, like up here in North America, it wasn't as populated as the Caribbean. Like when they first got here, they was finding on a little island of Puerto Rico more people than they thought was in Europe on that one little island, all the different islands. So that's where the current takes you off the coast of Africa, right into the Caribbean. Yeah. So that's about a year and a half journey in that time. So they was at sea for traveling for a year and a half. The Most High held still the waters, held still the floods for them to get over to a land that had never been inhabited. And it said, did you read 46?
Verse, then dwelt they there until the latter time, And now when they shall begin to come.
So in the latter time, you see that? That's what we read about in Hosea, where it said, in the land where you were called not my people, there you'll be called the children of God. And it will be Judah and Israel oppressed together. So it's either here, the Native American Indians are Israelites, or the so-called Negro ain't either. Because it said they would both be oppressed together. Right?
Cut.
I mean, it has to be that, don't it? Because throw out white people, throw out Chinese, whoever, the heathens that dispute if we're the Israelites. Everybody knows you got Israelites that are Hispanics. Some of them will say that the blacks ain't Israelites. But then you got some blacks that will say the Hispanics, the Native Americans, they're not Israelites. Both of them are all the way off in Rome. Both sets of people are the 12 tribes of Israel. The natives, they're the 10 tribes. They came to a land that never man dwelt. Straight up and down, without any shadow of a doubt. From there, we're going to go into this book called Jews in America. And why does it say Jews in America? Because the same way today they call everybody Jews, they would do that back then too. They call Israelites Jews and Jews Jews. What you pointing at?
I'm telling my son to look at the screen.
All right. So it's called Jews in America, or Possibilities that the Americans are of that race, by Thomas Thorogood. Who's Thomas Thorogood? Thomas Thorogood was a Puritan minister and preacher in King's Lynn, Norfolk, England. He was the first English author to argue in 1650 that the American Indians were descended from the lost 10 tribes. And that's why I pulled up his Wikipedia. This dude wrote this book in the 1600s. It says 1650, he was calling the Native American Indians Israelites. Now it's 2024, and they act like we ain't got no sense, or we're struggling to find any type of identity. So that's why we're saying these things, and all the scoffing they do. This dude was an Englishman that was saying it in 1650, along with a plethora of other writers. They was coming over here and they knew, oh, these people are the people. This Bible is about them. Everything they do, it's they got to be the law. And they remember 1650, you still had what book or books in the Bible? The Apocrypha. So they read 2nd Ezra 13. They was like, oh, this is the new oh, that's them. So they knew. How did we get to the day where they don't know no more, just like us? Psalms 83. It was once they found the people, their objective was destroy the people. Because why? These people are going to rule the earth unless we keep them in sin.
They even had plots against these people where they had a saying where they would keep the man and destroy the Indian. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And they schooled them to be
white men.
Yeah. And take on their culture.
Yeah. Schooled them to be white men, Europeans. So we're gonna go in this book, and I gave it to you. It's this one right here. And we're starting at the highlighted part. It's up on the screen as well. For anybody online, we're going to start on the left side. Left side. Highlight. Read the highlighted part.
And on the highlight on the left side.
Right. Oh, my bad. It's left side on screen. Right here. So start at the highlighted part, but start. I want to find the beginning of the sentence. Salakia. Start actually at the top of the paragraph. Even though highlighted part is the main points, just so it makes a little bit of sense. I want to start at the beginning of this paragraph. Salakia.
What's that say?
I might gotta read it.
Yeah, I can't read that.
Yeah, I might gotta read it. I've already read it. It's wrote in Old English. That's how old this book is. It's wrote where you gotta you gotta know the letters. Like S's look like F's. Yeah. All right. So I'll read it. The Jew in the what's the name of it? Jews in America are probabilities that the Americans are of that race by Thomas Thorogood. And it starts off. The first story which I heard was at Hogg, a person of chief quality about the Queen of Bohemia, and one of her council, and a discerning godly man. And my special friend told me that the Jew, a jeweler residing ordinarily at Hague, whom I knew, had been there at court, and with great joy had told that they of his nation had received from Constantinople letters, bringing to them glad tidings of two special matters falling out there. The one was that the grand Signor had remitted the great taxes which formerly had been laid upon the Jews of those parts, so that now they were in a manner free from all burdens, paying but a small and inconsiderable matter to that empire. The other was that a messenger was come unto the Jews who reside near about the Holy Land from the 10 tribes to make inquiry concerning the state of the land and what was become of the 2 tribes and a half which was left in it, when they were transported from thence by Salmanassar. This messenger was described to be a grave man, having some attendants in good equipage about him. He told them that the people from which he was sent were the tribes of Israel, which in the days of Hosea the king were carried captives out of their own land by the king of Assyria, who transported them from Samaria into Assyria and the cities of the Medes. But they, being grieved for the transgressions which caused God to be angry with them, they took a resolution to separate themselves from all idolaters. And so went from the heathen where they were placed by Salmanassar, with a resolution to live by themselves and observe commandments of God, which in their own land they had. Let me fix this. Lock in. Now we're on the right side if you're reading on the screen. Heathen where they were placed by Salmanassar, with a resolution to live by themselves and observe the commandments of God, which in their own land they had not observed. In prosecuting this resolution, after a long journey of 1 year and 6 months, they came to a country wholly destitute of inhabitants, where now they have increased into a great nation, and are to come from thence into their own land by the direction of God, and to show them that he was a true Israelite. He had brought with him a sacred scroll of the law of Moses, written according to their custom. So see, they was reading the second Ezra, and this guy came from it doesn't say yet. It's going to go into it though. The gentleman who told me this story, right? So it's going to say where he came from. Slakia. The gentleman who told me this story, as from the mouth of a Jew, said that it brought to his mind fully, by reason of the agreement of circumstances almost in all things, the story which is recorded in the second book of Ezra, which is called Apocrypha, which will be found a truth if that messenger came and made this narrative. This was the first story, and not long after, within the space of 5 or 6 months, a little before I came from the Low Countries, I was told of a Jew who came from America to Amsterdam and brought to the Jews residing there news concerning the 10 tribes, that he had been with them upon the border of their land and had conversed with some of them for a short space. See that? So he's giving witness that there was a Jew that came from the Americas to Amsterdam professing that the Israelites, the lost tribes, was over there in America. He was dwelling with them. And this Thomas Thorogood, he's referencing 2nd Ezra 13. So just proving the point I said, they were studying the book of 2nd Ezra, so they could also link the 10 tribes as, oh, it's got to be them. Keep going. That he had been with them upon the border of their land and had conversed with some of them for a short space and seen and heard remarkable things whilst he stayed with them, whereof then I could not learn the true particulars. But I heard that a narrative was made in writing of that which he had related, which before I went from Holland last, I had no time to seek after. But since the reading of your book and some discourse I've had about these matters, I have procured it from the Low Countries and received a copy thereof in French under Manasseh ben Israel his hand. And Manasseh ben Israel, he also gave an account of this another Spaniard or Jew that came over here attesting to them being the lost tribes of Israel. So that's all I want on that. Hold this, or you can't read out of it, so I'll hold it. Salaki. So now to the attire is what we're going to go into next. So we're going to go into images and paintings that were rendered during the time of the Europeans coming over here to the Americas, and we're going to get more evidence of who they are just by the attire they had on. So as you see in this photo here, and there's a couple of scriptures provided, one being Genesis 37:3. Now Israel loved Joseph, and we know that Joseph is the father of Ephraim, Manasseh, Ephraim being the head tribe of the nation of Israel, the northern kingdom nation of Israel. And it says Joseph was loved more than his children because he was the son of his old age, and he had made him a coat of many colors. And what you find here, the king of this, I believe this is the Mexicans, but the king, he's covered in a beautiful garment of many different colors. And, you know, he's just splendid in his appearance. What else do we see on his garment is at the bottom, we see fringes on his garment. And the scripture says, Numbers 15:38, we all know it already, but for those who don't, Numbers 15:38 says, speak unto the children of Israel and bid them that they make them fringes in the borders of their garments throughout their generations. So when they came over here, they found the Native American Indians wearing some of them beautiful garments, and on their garments, fringes at the bottoms, at the borders, at the extremity, at the skirt of their garments. They have fringes on. So we're going to go through a few images and just see. Because this wasn't just one or two Indians. This was their culture. This was the norm when it came to their attire. Fringes and even border of blue. So as you see on the left, it's a scene of a battle. And you see the Native American Indians in their their war garments or whatever, regular garments, whatever you want to call them, with fringes. Fringes down the side of the pant, fringes on the bottom of the shirts, or fringes on the arms, Anywhere, any border they can find, you find fringes and you find border of blue. Right? Everybody in that scene got something, their garment, fringes, and you can see some blue in there on them borders. We didn't paint this. This is what they painted. Way before a One West, way before a Abba Bivens, way before a Nat Turner. They was painting these images of so-called Native American Indians in fringes and borders of blue.
Good.
As you see the photo to the right, another Native American wearing fringes. It's black and white. You can't see the border, but you see the fringes. You can also tell here that he's kind of a dark man. It's black and white, but he's got a little dark tint to him. Another lie that they told us. Everybody was light. Bunch of yellow Indians over here, but really they was mostly dark. And you know, they the same as today, they range from different shades of brown, like we teach. Because we don't just teach out of our own thoughts. This movement, or whatever you want to call it, was never out of somebody's own heart and mind. The Most High just put the spirit on his people to go search things, and when it came to the search, the truth was found. The truth of the Bible and the truth of history and archaeology, and this is part of it.
Okay.
Look at these photos here. Clearly some dark, what they call Indians. The one on the right, dark as hell. And he even got the straight hair. Showing that we don't all look the same. We got different physical characteristics. And just because you're dark don't mean you're going to have nappy wool-like hair. Because the northern tribes, and we'll go into it in another class, we're not so much linking them to the Bible today, but it said that Ephraim had mixed himself amongst nations. So over here, that's why you find different hairstyles, different skin tones. And some people look Chinese-ish, and then you got people that run with that and say, "Oh, they're not Israelites. Those are what do they call Mongoloids or whatever."
Mongolians?
They call it Mongols or Mongoloid or whatever. It's like a phenotype. Yeah, right. And they say they're not Israel because of that. No, Israel, Northern Kingdom, even Southern Kingdom mixed with the nations. So that's why you find the different physical characteristics. But as we see, dark skin and fringes on the garments. So if you didn't know, there was black Indians. Some black people that claim Judah might be Northern Kingdom. Some people that claim Northern Kingdom might be Southern Kingdom. More photos. So you got this to the left. You got the soldier here. Got the fringes on the bottom. Oh, matter of fact, where they say you ain't supposed to put fringes there. That's not the border. Well, they was putting it there. And when you go into the Hebrew, it means wing, extremity, skirt, hem. Yes, it's definitely the border. If anybody was confused about that. But look, our ancestors had the fringes the same way we do. The chief or just soldier on the right that's battling the Europeans, he's got on what? Fringes, blue. He even has a shofar. He even got the shofar. This is a so-called Native American Indian. He's got the shofar. He's got the fringes with the border of blue. Photo to the left, see this dark-skinned sister with the two braids down the side, like the Native Americans would wear, like the old Redskins logo. Same hairstyle. Same dark skin as the Redskins logo. And at the bottom of her skirt, what she got? Fringes. And probably a border of blue. It's black and white. To the right, we see just it's some Native American garments and a Native American in the picture, all with fringes. We see on the garment the ribbon of blue, fringes with the ribbon of blue, and we see the fringes on the arm. So that I'm not going to mention the name, but them brothers that say, "Oh, it's supposed to be on the arm or the sides," that's okay too. But also, it can be on the bottom. And they was even putting the fringes on the moccasins. That's why Kyrie Irving did it. If anybody's seen his basketball shoe, it's kind of hideous, but it's giving homage though. He's putting the fringes on there, even though he kept Ramadan. But we're not going to judge him today. We're not going to judge him today. But so they say, y'all goofy. Y'all put fringes on your t-shirts. Well, our ancestors, they even put them on their shoes. So, maybe they're goofy too. That's the sin they committed. That's why the Most High sent the Europeans to slaughter them. They had the fringes in the wrong place. But yeah, we see the fringes with the border of blue. We got more. We got this chief here, decked out in this glorious red garment. And if you can see it, he's got fringes. He's got the fringes. There was a book, I forget the name of it, but it was about the Americas, and they had photos in there, and that's where this photo is pulled from. These are Native Americans, I believe, of Uruguay. I cut the photo in half, so Slovakia, but fringes on the seal that it was, I believe it was a map, but they would draw the place where it's at, and they would draw the inhabitants standing next to the sign of the place on this map. And that's what we're looking at. So the inhabitants they painted with fringes because they knew, that's how they dress. That's what they wearing in these territories, and that's how we're going to paint them. Same thing here. Oh, this is the same sign, I believe. So this is the other side. So yeah, I think it's Paraguay. It's Paraguay. So the native Paraguayans, if I'm saying that wrong, Slovakia, but they were painted dark and with fringes. Dark with fringes. And look at the little boy in the back. He got kinky hair. So see what I mean? Everybody didn't have straight hair. Everybody didn't have kinky hair. They probably going to worship it or slaughter it to an idol. Because my man's wearing looks like a cougar hat. And, the carcass is supposed to be abominable too. But we know they was going off, but they still, over time, but they still had the customs that they came over here with in an attempt to worship the Most High the right way. That's why they came here. But over time, we know we always had a history of going off. That's what they did. So he's got the fringes, but then he's got that goat. He's probably about to sacrifice to an idol, and my man's in the back is wearing a cougar's head. He got cut off of a kill, which is off. You see the Mississippi Indian, dark as hell. But I don't know what he's wearing. But the sister, she has fringes on the bottom of her garment. She got fringes on the bottom. Just like everybody else. We got here. Also, when this is probably Florida or one of the islands. The brother here he don't got a lot of clothes on because it's probably hot, but they still, you'll notice with the ones that didn't really wear a lot of garments, they would wear stuff like this on their legs or arms. They would still throw the fringes on one way or another. See that? this couple here. This is New England area, I believe. It says New Netherlanders, so they would call them New Netherlanders at one point in time, which is modern New England, right? So it probably was the Dutch. Who's Netherlands? The Dutch?
Netherlands.
Because it was probably named New Netherlanders by whoever came. So Netherlands ain't that they call the Dutch the Netherlands, Holland the Netherlands, right? I believe so.
I'm not sure.
So but they probably called them New Netherlanders because it was probably the Dutch that named them that, because it became New England. Because who gave them that? The English. Said this is New England. This is England over here. It's the new one. That's why it's called that. It said Delmarva Peninsula, Cape Cod, New York, New Jersey, Delaware, Connecticut, with small outposts in Pennsylvania and Rhode Island. This image is from the book by John Ogilvy, 1600s, 1676, issued in 1671. And what do you see? These cats had on fringes.
You can see his hair kinky.
Yeah, and you can see his kinky hair. He has a short afro. See that? That was over here. It said even Delaware. This whole seacoast up here. This is the native. This is the people that was here with the and the fringes. It's always the fringes. What are European photos with a bunch of fringes? Just say it. Fine. We're not Israelites. It's all made up. One West. The hate gang, whatever. Well, where are the images? Where's the archaeology? Coincidence. It's too much, way too much to ever say coincidental. Brother here, I don't know if you can see it, but he has the fringes hanging from his sleeve. This chief here, he's got the fringes on it. No, he got the fringes all over. He got the fringes on the sash. He's got the fringes on the outer garment up top. Chest area, I believe on the pants fringes. This picture here all the way on the right is an emblem of America that they painted way back. The woman here they painted got on her garment fringes, gold fringes, just same ones we like to wear. Go down here on the left. On the left, you got the native, the Aztecs. This photo is a drawing they did documenting the human sacrifices they were doing. But even in this wickedness, you see on the drawings that the priests that were doing these things had on their vestments fringes. See that? This is one of the maps, same as the old picture before, where they would draw like in the corner where it's a map of, and they would draw the natives that's in this area. This is Virginia, and I guess down to Florida. It's Virginia and Florida on here. Fringes. The natives are dark with fringes. That's Virginia to Florida. This is something they put together somewhere I found. I hate when it does that. Either way, just detailing this is Peru. This is what they put together, just detailing how the native Peruvians dressed in their apparel. And they made sure to add the fringes, all the different, the cape, all the different things that they knew these people were wearing. They added it all and included the fringes. Always the fringes. That's your ancient Peruvians. This is probably North America. This is a statue in some museum somewhere, but
I think it's in Alaska.
Alaska, okay. And look what they got on. Fringes with border of blue. border of blue. So so we don't make these things up. It's all over the place. I gotta get off of that. I don't like when it does that. Hold on. Put it on there. There we go. All right. Here's a couple statues in South America. They dedicated whatever to their ancestors in their warlike apparel, or this one in his kingly, princely apparel. Anyway, on these statues at the bottom, you see they made sure to add the fringes to these native garments. There's fringes on the bottom of that. There's fringes on the bottom of that one. That looks like for sure an Aztec or a Mayan. I'm not sure about him. But this is South America, South and Central America. Why does it keep doing that? I'm not pressing anything. I'm not pressing any buttons. It looks like probably North American Indians. What do we see? Fringes in blue, border of blue. It's black and white, but I'm pretty sure that's a blue border, right? Blue ribbon. It's funny that we always find that our ancestors had them at the bottom, the skirt of their garment, but these cats are saying that's not the border, and you can't put your fringes there. Y'all know who I'm talking about. This is King Atahualpa. This is Peru at his execution. This is painted, I believe, I looked it up in the 1500s by some European documenting this execution. And what did he do? He drew the fringes on him because he knew that's what he had on. And he included the border of blue. This statue is South America somewhere, similar to the other ones we just viewed. As you see, they made sure to put the fringes on this brother that they're commemorating. They made sure to put the fringes on the bottom of his garment. This is probably in Peru somewhere. He looks like the Peruvian king, but I'm not sure. And if you got anything to add, man, just add to it. So from there, let's we got First Chronicles 12. From there, we're gonna go here because we're about to go into a little bit of some Mexican history. So First Chronicles 12:32.
The book of First Chronicles, chapter 12, verse 32. And of the children of Issachar, which were men that had understanding of the times, to know what Israel ought to do, the heads of them were 200, and all their brethren were at their commandment.
So these people had knowledge of the times. They had knowledge of the times. They were expert in that. Enough to direct the people. So they had knowledge of the times. We're going into this book called Yucatan Before and After the Conquest by Friar Diego de Landa. Can you see that there? If not, I'll read it.
Not only did the Indians have account for the year and months, as has been before.
Real quick, Yucatan is like Mexico, the coast of the top of South America, like that area. I believe it's actually South America. The Yucatan, we'll have to look it up, but the Yucatan Central, the Yucatan Peninsula, they just called it Yucatan. That's what we're reading about. So go ahead, Slotty.
Not only did the Indians have account for the year and the months, as has been before set out, but they also had a certain method of counting time and their matters by ages, which they counted by 20-year periods, counting 13 20s, which one of the 20 signs in their month, which they call Ahau.
Ahawa, I believe.
Ahau, not in order, but going backwards as appearing in the following circular design. in their language, they call these periods katuns, with these making a calculation of ages. This is marvelous. Thus it was easy for the old men of whom I spake in the first chapter to recall events which he said had taken place 300 years before. Had I not known of this calculation, I should not have believed it possible to recall after such a period.
Just showing. So he's saying that these cats, I don't know how they did it, but they were right, and I know that based off of the history we had. That they were expert with this calendar, and they knew what they were talking about. That's what he says at the end. He wouldn't have believed it, except for he knows that the calculations are right because he knows the account that they've saved up in their, with the scientists or whatever to keep track of these things. Oh, these people are right. This calendar is right. So these people had knowledge of the times. The Mayan calendar is like, what do they say about the Mayan calendar?
It's like one of the most
accurate calendars that they've ever found. From there, we're going to go into this book. This book called The Aztec Man and Tribe by Victor W. von Siegen. And we can start it probably that no one really knows.
No one really knows, and the controversy is as old as the discovery of the Americas. The omniscient church collided at one with reality. If the flood, as detailed in the Bible, was true, it has destroyed all mankind except Noah and his chosen family to repopulate the earth. How did these Americans get to that continent? And moreover, who were they?
So it's saying, because some people say that the Native American Indians been here like millions of years. But if you believe the flood happened, that's impossible. Go ahead.
Logic failed.
Well, right here, where logic? Where
theologic logic failed, dialectics was triumphant. The Indians, of course, were Jews, one of the lost tribes of the land
of Israel.
So
see where I was talking about earlier, they call everybody Jews. We know that, we know the difference. Jews are Southern Kingdom. The lost tribes of Israel are Israel, Northern Kingdom. Go ahead.
There are many labor tracts on the theme written by the first Padres in America.
So he's saying the first Padres that came, there are many of them that said the same thing. That's what he means by there are many labor tracts, talking about the labors they put in to write these things and to save this history. So he's saying many Padres in the Americas were saying the same thing. Go ahead.
One Friar Diego Duran, the
rational
part of whose pioneer work in Mexico is used often in the book.
In this book,
Slakia wrote that the supposition is confirmed. Yep. These natives are of the 10 tribes of Israel that Shalmaneser, king of Assyria, made prisoner and carried to Assyria in the time of Hoshea, king of Israel.
See that? And he has a whole book. Friar Diego Duran, he did a whole book. One of them was the Yucatan book. Slagia. I'm tripping. We just went, So he has that book where that book is similar. If you heard of the James Adair book, where he lived amongst the Native Northern American Indians, and he documented all their customs and things like that. That's how the friar, whatever, that he just mentioned, that's what he did with that book we had just got an excerpt out of. So, if you want to get any of these books, they're good reads. They're big if you got the time for it. It's a lot of reading material in them. And just a forewarning, The whole book ain't like, hey, Israel, Israel, Israel. Just so you know, it'll be some boring stuff in there too. But yeah, if you want to get the books, grab them. I got a few of them. So the next book, Origins of the American Indians by Lee E. Huddleston. And it says of the Indians here, go ahead, the highlighted part.
Jews fleeing from Sennacherib.
Church, once again, Israel, they keep calling them Jews. He's talking once again about them fleeing from basically 2nd Ezra 13. Go ahead.
About 700 BC through West Africa and thence to America. Carthaginians, Scandinavians, Tartans, Chinese. Nonetheless, he remained convinced that the most reasonable theory seems to be that they are descendant from the 10 tribes, especially the tribe of Issachar.
So real quick, so what he's saying is all the different theories possible that people come up with are they could be the Carthaginians or the Scandinavians or Tatars or Chinese. And he's saying nonetheless, the most likely of all these thoughts and theories is that they're the 10 tribes of Israel. That's what's most likely with the customs they keep, the things, the way they dress. This descent
Was
indicated
by many of the customs, rites, and ceremonies common to the ancient Hebrews and modern Indians.
And the Indians. It was like a mirror. It was like a mirror. The same things that you find in the Bible, because that's the Hebrews' customs. These cats are doing it, even down to the going off and getting into idolatry. Next book. This is some archaeology, but you can find it. It's nothing to read here, but you can find this book called Archaeology Mexico by White Star Guides. In this book, you find this statue here that was found amongst the Native American Indians. Looks like probably a priest or something, but as you see around his neck, what they call the Star of David, which we know we don't call it a star, but what they call the Star of David, right on this dude's neck. Why? Why would they have that? Why would they have the customs, the rites, the ceremonies, and even those statues with the so-called Star of David or Shield of David or whatever you want to call it? Known to us. Yeah, known to us. Really, it actually looks like a pomegranate because it's got the middle and then it looks like a budding pomegranate. And that's what we call it. We call it the pomegranate or lily. We know we had these things, and that's what they represent. That's why I say what they call the Star of David. Archaeology helps destroy the lies. And it really does. When you get into the archaeology, it destroys lie after lie after lie after lie. And here's some more archaeology. This is in New Mexico. Go ahead and read that. Or if you can't see it, I will.
The Hidden Mountain Dialect Tablet.
The Hidden Mountain
Decalogue Tablet is one of the most important ancient artifacts ever found in North America.
And real quick, they call it a tablet, but it's actually a huge stone that's like almost as tall as Kalak or whoever, us, people. It's real big. You can actually look it up on YouTube. People have went there and they did little videos in front of it. So that's how I know that it's like probably at least up to here. It's big. Go ahead.
This artifact found at the base of the Hidden Mountain, New Mexico, near the city of Los Lunas.
So it's also called the Los Lunas stone. Right. Go ahead.
The main and most vital element of this element, Salakia. The most vital element of this tablet is the inscription found on a large rock slab its pronunciation proclaims the 10 Commandments in ancient Paleo-Hebrew.
Not modern,
Character.
not Assyrian, the Paleo. Go ahead.
So that means this is written in Lashawan Kodash.
Lashawan Kodash. Go ahead.
There are other inscriptions in the Mexico region which are also inscribed in ancient Paleo-Hebrew letters. This is authentic proof that the early native inhabitants of Mexico possessed knowledge of ancient Hebrew Israelites. These people were their ancestors.
And it's called the Decalogue Stone because, it says the 10 Commandments. It's like it. But it also has the Tetragrammaton, Yahweh, on there. They didn't mention that, but I will. So Yahweh's on there, and it's in the Paleo-Hebrew. And, you're going to have people that want to, what's it called, bring doubt to the validity of it. And they say, it was put there like by explorers. No, it wasn't, because they were familiar with the Assyrian Hebrew. They wasn't walking around America, bunch of ancient Paleo Hebrew scholars marking up rocks in New Mexico. That ain't happened.
And then you got certain Israelite groups trying to say One West made up the Lashawan Kodash. It's right here on those lunar Decalogue stone.
Huh.
Yeah, I mean, they try to say they made it up, and it's been there for thousands of years before there was ever a One West.
And scholars call it Paleo Hebrew. The scholars, they're right about everything else. So yeah, this was a real language that was before the Assyrian. This is the ancient holy language, the Lashawan Kodash. This was found in the Americas, in New Mexico, with the 10 Commandments. How about this one?
I can't read.
I'll do this one. This book here is called The Ancient Past of Mexico by Alma M. Reed. I think I might have this one. I could have gave it to you, but it's all right. I do, don't I? I'll read it. I can read it. So if you're watching on TV, we're reading the underlined part. It ain't highlighted, it's underlined. I'm going to try my best. The six-pointed star or shield of David, formed by two equilateral triangles found as early as the 7th century BC on a Hebrew tombstone at Zidon, appears with the triangle similarly interlaced on the wall of a Maya ruin in Uxmal. Count Goblet de Alviela of Belgium and his The Migration of Symbols, published in London in 1894, called attention to the fact that the feathered tail or lower appendage of the star found at Uxmal is like penetrated tails attached to symbols from ancient Bible lands. So they're drawing there. That's what they found on the Mayan wall.
Car.
It suggested, he remarked, in striking manner, the penetrated tail. Pinnated. I'm reading it all wrong. The pinnated tail of certain Assyrian, Phoenician, and Persian globes. Lord Kingsborough, who compiled 9 volumes of Aztec and Mayan codices, subscribed totally to the notion of the colonialization of Mexico by the lost tribes of Israel. William H. Prescott commented wryly that to this theory, the whole battery of Lord Kingsborough's logic and learning was directed, for the hieroglyphics were unriddled manuscripts, compared monuments delineated. But yeah, so this was found on a Mayan wall in a Mayan temple. Huh? And you find that in that book. So we read about Issachar, Yashakar. It's and the symbol is the donkey is the symbol that represents the tribe of Israel. Slaki, Issachar. Issachar in Hebrew is translated he is hired. This name is symbolic of his personality, character, and blessing to retrieve and perform labor tasks like no other people. Going down, moving on. This is when you visit Mexico, this is something normal that you'll see. This is a normal scenery in Mexico today. Asses carrying large burdens. What else is the norm with the so-called Mexicans? Hard labor. They carry heavy burdens with the way that they work and labor. Harder than anybody else you know.
Yeah.
Nobody works as hard as a Mexican. Then they still come home and crack open some Modelos or Coronas and will sit out there couple just around the corner, sit out in the garage and drink till 2 a.m. and get up at 6 a.m. and back at it like it ain't nothing.
Mm-hmm. The scriptures say that they are a servant unto tribute. Yeah, I mean, that they work so hard, you like, dang, you going to salute these people for how hard they work.
So watch this. So this is the book, The Ancient Sun Kingdoms of the Americas by Wolfgang von Hagen.
Like most men in Mexico, he was short between 5 feet and 5 feet 5. Broad-headed.
This is talking about Montezuma, by the way, if it doesn't say it after. This is Montezuma, King Montezuma.
Broad-headed and thick-set. He was tireless, used to walking since childhood, and could carry a load of 75 pounds, 15 hours a day. His arms were long and feet broad and proportionate to his height.
See that? This dude was able to carry the burdens like an ass, just like Issachar. Read that other highlighted part.
This color varied.
Their color
varied. Slakia. Their color varied from dark to light brown, and their faces could assume a fierce, mean, and often great dignity.
So this was the ancient Aztecs. This is the King Montezuma. He could carry 75 pounds for 15 hours a day. He could do this for 15 hours a day like it was nothing. They still today can do this like regular old day.
And as you can see, these ain't the so-called Mexicans that you see on Telemundo. These are the actual inhabitants of the land,
right,
the indigenous
real
folks. You know what I mean? If you go into Mexico, it's actually another city there called Oaxaca, and it actually mirrors the name Issachar, where Issachar means he is higher. Oaxaca means the wages of hire. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And it's predominant people who look and mirror us. They look like us, and they have variations in hues and hair grade.
So, what did it say about between two burdens?
We can get it.
We just read it though. Either way, this sister here is carrying two burdens. She a European would die doing this.
Absolutely.
And they be out there fully clothed so they don't get sunburned. They be on roofs like that. If you pay attention, when they be roofing, they be covered just like this in the hot July sun on top of a roof. It don't slow them down either. They bang that roof out in 2 hours.
Yeah. like 10, 20 of them.
Go bang out another one, then have some Coronas. We drink the night before work. We don't want to get up.
This is the book of Genesis, chapter 49, verse 14. Issachar is as strong as, couching down between two burdens.
And that's what we see here, this so-called Mexican sister here.
And he saw that the rest was good in the land.
And every day, once again, every day they get done busting out some type of hard labor, and they hang out in the garage or the driveway, and they kick back with a case of Coronas and do it all again like it ain't nothing.
And he saw that the rest was good in the land, in the land that it was pleasant, and bowed his shoulder to bear, and became a servant unto tribute.
Mm-hmm. That matches the so-called Mexicans to a T.
Good.
From there, we're going to go to this book called The 10 Tribes of Israel, or the true history of the North American Indians, showing that they are the descendants of these 10 tribes, by Timothy R. Jenkins. And on this insert, we're going to read the highlighted part about, I'm not sure if this ain't about Issachar. This is about the natives of America. The book, The 10 Tribes of Israel, highlighted part on the right.
If you go from nation to nation, you will find one. You will not find one who does not lineally distinguish himself by his representative family. Respective family. As the family of the tribe of the eagle panther, which is their lion.
Eagle or panther.
Mm-hmm. Which is their lion, tiger, buffalo. Their ox.
That's so they're saying bull. The buffalo is their version of the ox. He's linking it to the similarities of the Bible animal insignias.
All right. Also the bear, deer, raccoon, etc. So among the Jews was the lion of the tribe of Judah. There was also known by a serpent. Issachar by an ass.
Issachar, so that's where we started off with the donkey. Because it was all leading up to this account from this so-called European Edomite. Go ahead.
And Benjamin by a wolf. But the Indians, as the Jews, paid no religious respect for any of these animals or for any other whatever.
So these Indians he's speaking of wasn't worshiping the animals. They was just the same way their insignias in the Bible, they would use them as insignias amongst themselves, their different tribes over here that they were going by at this time. Just another similarity that matching them to the Bible and what they do, their customs and rights. Issachar was the ass, and you find here a so-called Mexican riding the ass. Pause. That didn't sound right.
Even back in the day, you remember Juan Valdez, he would come in, he's
riding on the donkey.
Yeah.
Americans, they ask for money. Mexicans, they ask for jobs. And Issachar means what?
He is higher.
He is higher. Like they'll stand out on the corner all day waiting for some contractors to come by. You see it up New York, everywhere. What do you see? Who do you see everywhere asking for money? Down out.
What you say now?
Down and out Europeans.
What you say now? Who you see asking for money?
They be at the light looking real bad. This is from the book The Lost Tribes and Promised Lands by Ronald Sanders. Highlighted part on the right.
But even if we set the question of his origins aside, Durian's work suggests that he viewed the Indian destiny from a perspective influenced by the new Christian experience of his time, whether he was conscious of this or not. For with increasing frequency and conviction, Duran came.
Duran. This is talking about Friar Diego Duran, the guy that wrote that book we was in earlier, the Yucatan and all that.
Duran came to the elements of a Judaic character in the old Aztec religion. As first, this tendency appears only as a fervent search for Jewish analogies provoked by Aztec customs, such as the eating of only unleavened bread, or certain days of the year.
So they would on certain days they would only eat unleavened bread. Bible, go ahead.
The prohibition of drinking liquids after the eating of certain ritual foods, and the use of baths for purification in the time. This begins to seem to Duran like overwhelming evidence that the Indians are indeed descended from the lost tribes of Israel. And he opens his last and most important work, The History of the Indies in New Spain, with an unqualified assertion to this effect. In this way, even certain fundamental legends can be explained, such as the one that Montezuma.
So we're good. Just more on talking about the customs and evidences that are overwhelmingly pointing to them being the lost tribes of Israel. They can claim, they can claim this stuff not to matter all they want, but it does. Why would these things? All is so much stuff. How would it be if they wasn't the people?
Also, the authors of these books is European.
Yeah, they Europeans. These authors, it's their own pen detailing these things. It's their great grandchildren that's now like, oh shit, these people are waking up and trying to dispute this. You good? So this is out of the book. You got it in front of you. It's the hardback one. Next book we're going into is called The Feats and Wisdom of the Ancients. And in it you can find around page, what page you at? Check the other side.
No. You want to say 113?
Page 113, you'll find this account of a stone found in Tennessee. I think this is the Back Creek stone,
yes.
But you can read about it. The ancient Hebrews of Tennessee, found in the book Feats and Wisdom of the Ancients, page 131. If you're looking on a screen, you can see the Paleo-Hebrew markings on this rock, but we're going to read about it.
The ancient Hebrews of Tennessee. Throughout the river valleys of the southeastern United States lie hundreds of man-made earthen mounds in which American Indians lay their dead to rest. But in one such mound, according to some researchers, there are non-Indian remains as well. The bones of Jewish refugees who may have fled the brutal Roman occupation of Palestine in the 1st century AD. This tomb first came to light in 1889 when a team from the Smithsonian Institute excavated 3 burial mounds along Back Creek in Loudoun County, Tennessee. 9 skeletons were found in one mound, 2 of them set apart from the other 7. Beneath one of these 2 skeletons lay several unusual artifacts, among them a stone tablet bearing 9 carved letters. the director of the mound excavated project, a man by the name of Cyrus Thomas, decided that the inscription contained letters of the Cherokee alphabet, which had been devised around 1820 by Cherokee scholar Sequoyah. The bones and the tablet were sent to the Smithsonian for later consideration. Thomas published his report in 1894, and there the matter seemed to rest. But in the 1950s, archaeologist Joseph Mahan happened upon a picture of the Bat Creek tablet and reached a conclusion remarkably more exotic than Thomas. Mahan knew the Cherokee alphabet, and as he wrote later, could see no relationship whatever between the symbols on the stone and those developed by Sequoyah. What Mahan did see upon turning the picture of the stone upside down was a striking similarity between several of the letters in ancient Canaanite writing. No expert in Semitic language, Mahan sent a photograph to Semitic language scholar Cyrus Gordon, who confirmed Mahan's observation. The characters, said Gordon, were from a Hebrew dialect dating to about the 1st century AD.
And this you can see it. This is ancient Paleo Hebrew. You got the Yah, that looks like a La, but that's definitely a Yah. That's a Ha, that's the Tha, and that's a Ra. That without a doubt, this is ancient Paleo Hebrew. They found on the stone. They thought it was Cherokee because it was upside down. That's what it's talking about. Then one day, one of the scholars or whoever came along and they flipped it and they said, "Oh, hold up, this is Hebrew." Go ahead.
Others who have compared the inscription with Cherokee.
You left off the 1st century AD.
Slovakia.
The characters, said Gordon, were from a Hebrew dialect dating to about the 1st century AD. They translated it as a comet for the Jews.
He speculated that one of these skeletons was that of a leader, the comet memorialized by the tablet. Others who have compared the inscription with Cherokee, Paleo Hebrew, and English characters take the position that on the basis of their shapes, the carvings are as similar to English letters as to Cherokee characters.
Hold on real quick. They said, wait, how far back did you go? Either way, they said it translated as a comet for the Jews. So let me look at it again. I can't read all this stuff before, but if this is a Yah, Ha, this might not be a Tha. This is a Wa. Yeah, that's a Wa, and that's the line going through the Wa. So Yahweh, and then that's not a Ra. That must be a Da. Yahweh. That would be the Jew part. So I guess whatever is before that over here, I can't tell. You can't really see it that good on the screen. But I guess that translated to a comet and then this is Yahweh. Yeah. Yeah, that looks like Yahweh. That's what they're saying. Go ahead.
But are even more like Hebrew, as Gordon said, support.
Damn right, like Hebrew.
For Gordon's assessment also comes from carbon-14 dating of wood fibers found with the skeletons. These tests reveal that the bodies were buried sometime in the first 2 centuries AD. To be sure, there are many reasons to question the scenario suggested by Gordon's translation of the inscription. For example, the other facts recovered at the Bat Creek grave site are clearly American Indian rather than Hebraic. And there is, of course, no hint of voluminous Hebrew lore of how many ancient Hebrews might have come to be among the Indians of Tennessee 19,000 years ago.
Yeah,
1900s, like
they were wrong about that comment. Read the gray box, because we're pulling all types of voluminous proofs that the Hebrews was here. Read the gray box, please.
Modern seafaring indicates that ancient peoples could have crossed oceans despite the smallness of their boats. In recent years, the Atlantic has been traversed by, among other things, 2 rafts, 2 dugout canoes, 2 dories propelled only by oars, several dories with sails, and a conventional sailboat less than 6 feet long.
And the purpose of that just shows that if anybody would think that, how people didn't come over here by boat, because you couldn't get over here by boat until the 1400s, because if you could, there would never have been a Christopher Columbus. But that's showing that people didn't have to wait for Christopher Columbus. It was capabilities to come across back and forth way before Columbus, because you could do it in a canoe if you wanted to. You could do it in a canoe if you wanted to. If you knew how to survive out there on the water for that time, and you was willing to do it, where there's a will, there's a way, and the Most High gets you through it, you can do it. And I didn't mean to do all that rhyming. That was accident, but I might have to lay that on the track.
Just let me back over that. That people couldn't get here. They said King Solomon had a navy, and they had wood and things that could only be found on this side of the map. They said he even took peacocks back, which were originally indigenous to this land. So Solomon had knowledge of this land as might have been referred to as Offer. Yeah, I mean, and they took his navy and they took wood from here to build up the temple as well.
If you want, we can go there.
We can.
It's First Kings. Let's just get it and hit it and get out of it. Wrong tab. Because I mean that's a good point you make, because the Ezra account said that the trip was a year and a half. What the brother Yachna is talking about is a 3-year trip. So that would be a year and a half. It's let me scroll up. First Kings 10, I believe, and 20 something. Let me get there and I'll tell you. It's definitely chapter 10.
I got it. It's 9.
Nah, the one you want is in 10. 9 doesn't tell you how long the trips were.
Oh yeah, I got you.
Chapter 10.
But I'm saying that we can get started.
Okay. Well,
show that he had a navy and stuff.
All right. Well, I'm gonna go to 10, but you can read the 9. Let them know you're reading from 9. Where are we at in 10 though? It's 20 something, right?
In 10, yeah, it's 26.
All right. So go ahead and read 9. Let them know where you're at.
The book of First Kings, chapter 9, verse 26. And King Solomon made a navy of ships in Ezion Geber, which is beside Eloth, on the shore of the Red Sea, in the land of Edom. And Hiram sent in the navy his servant shipmen that had knowledge of the sea with the servants of Solomon. And they came to Ophir and fetched from thence gold 420 talents and bought it to King Solomon. And where we at in 10?
I got to find it because it wasn't 26. Hold on. Here we go. 22.
The book of First Kings, chapter 10 and 22. For the king had at sea a navy at Tarshish with the navy of Hiram. Once in 3 years came the navy of Tarshish, bringing gold and silver, ivory and apes and peacocks. So King Solomon exceeded all the kings of the earth for riches and for wisdom. And all the earth sought to Solomon to hear his wisdom, which Yahweh had put in his heart.
There it is.
Yep. So they had going back and forth in a period of 3 years. and he had bought peacocks from over here because peacocks is indigenous to this land.
Mm-hmm. And also showing that you could do. They were doing long trips at sea long before Columbus.
Yep, and it mirrors them taking a year and a half to get here to Ozarif too as well, because they didn't never go back.
Mm-hmm. Con, definitely. Next book, we're going to go right back to the 10 Tribes of Israel book. I got you right here at the top. We're going to go in here and see a little bit. They're going to talk about the languages, the language the natives were speaking. And you can start at the top of the highlighted, and then we're going to go through some of these pages, some of the words they were speaking, and the similarity of the words they were speaking with the Hebrew. That's what we're going to see in this book excerpt.
Besides what has been observed concerning prefixes and suffixes, there is a remarkable analogy, says Dr. Edwards, between some words of the Mohegan language and the corresponding words of in the Hebrew. In the Hebrew's use, ka, the suffix hawa, is this man or thing or this thing, very analogous to the hu of hua. Isp, nakanu, is we.
Mm-hmm.
Prefix to donate the person as nemitchisi or nemiste, i.e. in Hebrew, k or ka is the suffix for the second person and is indifferently either a pronoun, substantive, or objective. A or ka has the same use in the Mohegan language as kamtish or kamsti. Thou eatest nish, thy hand in Hebrew.
So it's a new sentence. It's saying nish means thy hand. Go ahead.
The va and the letter u and who are the suffixes for he or them in the Indian. The same expressed u or ua and by u as
The one, yeah.
I don't know. You said
the one more, yeah. Go ahead, keep going. Though but what they're breaking down is the similarity of like small things like ka or whatever, and it giving meaning to the word now, and they use the same the same letters or whatever. Go ahead. Go. I love it.
I love him.
Is
Permisu.
yeah.
He walked in Hebrew, the suffix to express our or us. In new, in Mohegan, it is new or negunu.
Yeah.
Our father, Nemistushu. We eat and sing. To elucidate this subject still further, a list of a few words in different Indian dialects shall be added with the same word in the Hebrew Chaldaic.
All right, so here's where the meat is. So, boom, first one.
English.
Yahweh.
Oh, my bad.
Yeah, but that's giving you. So you got the first is the English, then the Caribbean or Carib, the Creeks, the Mohegan, and then the Hebrew. So what you see here is whereas Yahweh or in English Jehovah, in Carib is Jachinah, and Creeks they say Yohi-Hoa. It's almost just like the Hebrew Yahweh. Yohi-Hoa, Yahweh. Yohi-Hoa, Yahweh. And where were they getting that name for the name of God from anyway? They just so happen to give God or call God the same name in the Hebrew, or very similar.
Con.
And we know that the Northern Kingdom, they were already starting to pronounce things differently as far back as Judges. So that would be why through time it's not exactly the exact same, but it's damn near close to the exact same. We can get that real quick.
Con, Slakia. And
That
even in
was-
different dialects today, we see people, they pronounce Yehovah, Yahweh, Yahweh, Yahuwah, and so on and so forth. And it still go back to Yah. You know what I mean? Yod Hey Wahe. You know what I mean? Or they say Yehoshua, and so on and so forth. Even with Israel, you got Yisrael, Yasha'Allah, Yasharal, and so on and so forth. And they all are different dialects of the Hebrew. I just had a conversation about that last night.
So read this. Just to show that it's okay that it wasn't the exact same. It's very similar, and we'll see even in the time of Judges, which is over about 3,000 years ago, they were already starting to pronounce the Hebrew language different amongst the two tribes that are brothers from Joseph, Ephraim and Manasseh. Even with them, started to separate how they pronounce the Hebrew. Judges chapter 12, verse 6. Read that.
The book of Judges, chapter 12, verse 6.
Start at 5. So like it. 5. This is Manassites and Ephraimites.
Khan. And the Gileadites. The Gileadites is a clan of the tribe of Manasseh.
Khan.
And the Gileadites took the passages of Jordan before the Ephraimites. And it was so that when those Ephraimites which were escaped said, "Let me go over," that the men of Gilead said unto him, "Art thou an Ephraimite?" If he said, "Nay," then said they unto him, "Say now Shibboleth." And he said, "Sibboleth," for he could not frame to pronounce it right. Then they took him and slew him at the passage of Jordan. And there fell at that time of the Ephraimites 42,000.
So who understands what the point is by going here? What we're showing is after how long have been so Northern Kingdom went into captivity in 700 AD, right?
Cool.
So that's roughly almost 3,000 years that they've been taken captive and gone. And almost 3,000 years later, they already in Judges were starting to pronounce things differently, right? Almost 3,000 years later, they're still pronouncing words that's almost identical to the Paleo-Hebrew. When they were already starting to have different pronunciations all the way back in Judges. They might as well be pronouncing it perfectly if it's that close 3,000 years later. And why would these people, where would this be coming from? It just so happens to be people on the other side of the earth that's never been part of the Hebrews, never been Israelites, but their language mirrors the same language they were speaking over here. And they never met, they never did nothing together. They speak in the same language, pretty much identical.
Cool.
You really got to be a fool to let somebody come in and with all this knowledge convince you that you ain't got it. Go to the next page.
It's right here.
To highlight it.
Okay.
So if you're viewing on TV, this TV is the page to the left right now. Just some more words that are similar, so similar in the Native American Indians language to the Hebrew language.
Yep. The great first, Yahweh, Jehovah. Praise the first cause.
Exactly.
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah. When we read the first time, this is the Creeks. The first time, Yehovah, then it would be would you read that? Okay.
Yahiwah.
Or Yahiwah. Keep going.
the father, Abba, Alba.
Wait, go back to hallelujah though.
Oh, hallelujah, hallelujah.
Praise the what's that mean?
Praise the first cause.
Praise the Most High, right?
Yeah.
And in the Indian language, it goes what?
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah. Whatever.
Hallelujah.
Yeah, right. And in Hebrew, it's hallelujah or hallelujah, right?
Hallelujah, yeah.
Hallelujah, right?
Yep.
And it's almost identical. And why? And break down. So why does it sound like that? Break down the meaning. So hallelujah is halal, praise Yahweh, praise Yahweh.
Cool.
Theirs is pretty much almost halal. And why? A breakdown of Yahweh. Yeah, it is it should be clear. It should be clear. Like this doesn't happen. People ain't never met two different. It's pretty much in this time. It was pretty much like it was equivalent to if people lived on Mars, and we left Earth and went to Mars, and they was talking the same language we talk. Wait, hold on. How'd they get here? Oh, that must be the people that decided to make a space force 2,000 years ago, and they left, and now here they are. This is where they went.
Car.
Yeah. Keep going. What else we got? You said father. They say what?
Abba.
And in the Hebrew is what?
Abba. Abba Noah.
Come on, man. Come on. Stop playing games, people. Go to the next page.
In English, another name for God.
Mm-hmm.
And then they got Ale.
Yep.
Elohim.
Or Allah.
Mm-hmm.
Or Allah.
Yep.
Israelites. Back to this book. You can drop that for now. I think we're gonna go back in there. Just keep it handy. Back in the book, Jews in America or possibilities that the Americans are of that race. Chapter 2. If you're watching on screen, we're starting on the left side of the page, and I'll read it. So chat
time with that book. That just giving me a headache just looking at it.
Yeah, but once you get it down though, the hardest part is separating the S's from the F's, because like right here it says the first and it looks like the same letter twice. So yeah, the S's look like the F's. Chapter 2, the first conjecture that the Americans are Jews. And it reads, the Indians do themselves relate things of their ancestors suitable to what we read of the Jews in the Bible and elsewhere, which they also mention to the Spaniards at their first access thither. And here the speech of Merciless occurred as observable. That's some looks like Merciless is somebody during this guy's time that wrote something, because it has a on the right side of the page it has a reference. So he's saying, and here the speech of Merciless occurred as observable. If we would know, safe heed, the antiquity and original of a nation, there is more credit to be given to the natives and their neighbors than to strangers and their neighbors and than to strangers. And it looks like Caesar or Caesar concluded the Britons to be Gauls, because that was the affirmation of them both. So he's saying they were called Gauls because they affirmed that. The Native Americans affirmed that they are of the tribes of Israel. Peter Martyr tells at large how Montezuma, the great king. Now, if you're on the screen, the right side of the page, the highlight parts are the main meat, but I like to get the context by reading above. The Montezuma, the great king of Mexico, in an oration made to his nobles and people, persuading subjection to the king of Spain. So this is Montezuma speaking to the king of Spain. Minds his countrymen, or speaking to his countrymen, how to deal with the king of Spain. He minds his countrymen that they heard from their forefathers how they were strangers in that land, and by a great prince very long ago brought thither a fleet. This is Montezuma talking about his people and how they got there. They boast their pedigree from men preserved in the sea by God himself. Remember, he held still the floods. Y'all remember that? All right. This is Montezuma, the king of the Aztecs during the time of the conquest, reminding his people where they come from, out of his mouth. That God made one man and one woman. So he knows the creation story. Bidding them live together and multiply. And how in a famine he rained bread from them from heaven. So he knows about the Exodus. Who in the time of drought also gave them water out of a rock. He knows about the water from the rock. How does he know these things? I'm going to keep reading down and get to the other highlighted part. Many other things themselves. Let me scroll. Hold up. Many other things themselves say were done for them, such as the scriptures relate concerning the Israelites at their coming out of Egypt. As the progenitor many years, the oracles they received, their ark of bulrush, wherein Vitzel, the Putzli was included. So that's probably one of their gods or something. Whatever that is, that's from the Aztec language. I don't know what it means. Was included. Of the tabernacle, the ark carried by 4 priests, and how they pitched their tents according to his direction. How does he know about, in the wilderness, all the tribes being set on each different side of the tabernacle? How does he know about that? And who seeth not faith? Malvindi. Much probability that the Mexicans are Jews. How could they else report the manner of their coming into the promised land? They affirm there is one chief God who have been from all eternity, by whom the lesser gods were made. The Alahayim, don't we teach that God gave the orders to the Alahayim to make everything? This is the same thing they understood. Who became assistants in the fabric and government of the world, as some of the rabbis also called the angels co-creators with God, to whom the Lord did say, let us make man in our image. Going down more in this book. We're going to be in this book for a little bit. It's a lot of good stuff in this book.
I had I don't know if you can play this on your computer. Oh yeah, I need to send this to you. Can you receive this to your messenger?
I don't know how to do it on the computer right now. Remember, we're going to do a part 2 though.
No, it's just pertaining to what you just read. Like he's speaking on it.
Well, we can have redo it because I don't know how to.
Okay,
right
I got you.
But we can always do a reverse for that point. Remember that. Send it to me and we'll make sure we touch on that. So the next thing here is page 6. So this is page 6, same book. They're whispering. Be quiet. Y'all ain't paying attention. This is talking about the natives here in America. And it says in the highlighted part, you read, they constantly and strictly separate their women in a little wigwam by themselves in their feminine season. So the Indians were separating the women during their time of the month. Where'd they get that from? That's Torah law. They were keeping Torah customs as we keep reading. Chapter 3, the rights Now we're going to go over a list of rights that they keep and how it's this. The author of this book, he even provided scripture. We're going to see. So each detail of their common practices and customs, he's going to provide a scripture where you can see it similarly done in the Bible by Israelites. The rites, fashions, ceremonies, and opinions of the Americans are in many things agreeable to the customs of the Jews, not only profane and common usages, but such as be called solemn and sacred. So even he's talking about even the way they would go off was the same way the Israelites went off in the Bible. And then even the sacred is solemn and sacred ones. It's all similar. That's what he let us know in that paragraph. Common and profane customs in both alike. Number one, the Indians wear garments fashioned as the Jews. We saw through all those images of the Native American Indians the same garments that of the Bible, the fringes, a single coat, a square little cloak. They go barefoot. If you should ask a man of Brazil what vestment he would please him best, he would answer presently, a long cloak, the habit of the Jews. This may seem no light consideration to such as mine, Seneca's confidence that the Spaniards planted themselves in Italy, for they have the same kind of covering on their heads and shoes for their feet. Number two, they constantly anoint their heads, as did the Jews also. Then he provided Luke 7:46, where you can find that. What time is it? We can't get all the precepts, but you'll find this similar. He provides the scriptures. So if you go to Luke 7:46, you're going to find anointing. They do not only pride themselves with. What are you doing? I'll do it to you in a minute. They do not only pride themselves with earrings, but their noses are bored also and have jewels hanging on them, which they call karikori, like that is read in Isaiah 3:20 and 21. Number four, in all India, which I believe he's talking about the Americas, they wash themselves often twice or thrice in the day, and the women in Brazil 10 times, save Larius. And the Jews were frequent in this. You find that Mark 7:3-4, where Yahushua is arguing with the Pharisees about cleaning their hands. It says, what's that next one? I'm not sure what that next scripture is, but on to the next one. 5, they delight exceedingly in dancing, men and women, yea, and women apart by themselves. And so they did in Israel. You find that Exodus 13:20, the women dancing separate from men. 1 Samuel 21. Salakia. 11 and 12. What was that? And thus, especially after victories and overthrows of the enemies, which is found also in and tell her to quiet down, please. 1 Samuel 18:6-7. 6, as the Jews were wont to call them fathers and mothers that were not their natural parents, so the Indians give the same appellation to uncle and aunts. They do the same, all the same things you find we did in Israel, the Americans did here. Number 7, in America they eat no swine's flesh. 'Tis hateful to them, as it was wrong to the Jews, as you know, Leviticus 11. Not eat swine's meat. Isaiah 66:15. When Yahushua comes back, anybody found eating swine's meat will be put to death. The Indians wasn't eating swine over here.
God, I can't remember what movie it was, but they pulled this Indian chief inside a courthouse. He testifies against them about bringing the pigs over here and trying to make them eat it. And then y'all familiar with the clip? Y'all seen it before?
I'm familiar that they brought that pig over here.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, okay.
Over here is not really original.
Yeah.
Well, they wasn't eating it. They knew better. How'd they know better if they didn't have the Torah law? Number 8, they washed strangers' feet and were very hospitable to them. And this was the known commendation of old Israel. Remember, Yahushua, he said what? As I wash his feet, I expect y'all to wash feet. So they were doing this. Where are they getting these things? 9, the Indians compute their times by nights and use which confessive they had from the Hebrews. Nights meaning what? They know the day starts when it gets nighttime. Where are they getting this from? They reckon by lunary rules, giving the same name to their months they do to the moon. Tona. Where does new moon come from? New month. Month, moon, they do the same thing. So they knew it was a new month by the cycle of the moon. That's what it's telling me. Where did they learn that from? The Torah. The moon is in there for signs and seasons to know the time.
God. The month is called after his name.
Yeah. Number 10. Virginity is not a state praiseworthy among the Americans. It was bewailed condition in Jewry. Let me explain what that means. It don't mean that it wasn't praiseworthy to be a virgin. Remember, if you didn't want to stay a virgin, it was a shame if your womb was closed, if you wasn't married. The goal was to marry your daughters. What we read in Sirach, marry your daughters and give them to a man of understanding.
God.
So that's what it means by virginity is not a state praiseworthy. They felt the same way. It was the duty of a father. He had daughters. He wanted to marry them away, not keep them virgins till they die in his house. The number 11, the natives marry with their own within their own kindred and family. This was God's command to his people, and he provided. Numbers 36 and 7. The Indian women are easily delivered of their children without midwives, same as those in Exodus 1:19. Like he's just going on and on. Like the list goes on. 13, they wash their infants newly born. And this you find also Ezekiel 16:9. And he probably notes that, like, why would that be of note? Because he knows his people ain't really into that. Like they'll have a baby and keep them in the blood and muck probably for a week before they put him in a bath. And let it be cold, he ain't getting a bath.
Yeah, they was true savages. They didn't even believe in taking a bath like
they
that.
would go in the same clothes we read until they fell off. Yeah.
They was taking a poop on the damn pot in the room and just sliding it out and just staying on and wiping or nothing.
Remember, this book was wrote in the 1600s. So that little detail, it matters. Today, we know everybody, oh, baby gets born, he's rushed off, cleaned off. He's letting us know that was something of notice. I mean, it wasn't like that back in them days. But them Indians, they did it, though. The same way God said that he cleaned off Israel from the womb, and we did the same. We knew what you don't leave the baby in its blood and its dirt and filth. Number 14, in feminine seasons, we already read it, they put their women in wigwam by themselves, for which they plead nature and tradition. Another writes expressly such kind of purification they have as had the Jews. 15, the widow marrieth the brother of the deceased husband.
Yep, we just went over this.
Moses' law. Coincidence? I think not. 16, dowries for wives are given by the Indians as Saul enjoined David. And as you read in the law, he ain't put that, but in the law, the father gets a dowry.
Huh.
Indians was given dowries. 17, the husband had power over the adulterous wife to turn her away with disgrace.
Huh.
They have also other causes of divorce, as was in Israel. Then he provides Matthew 8:19, which I believe is 9:19. Because we know fornication isn't just adultery. And that's what he's referencing. They nursed their own children, even the queens in Peru, and so did the mothers in Israel. I guess, well, we know that they didn't like to nurse their own children back then because they had the slaves do it.
Huh.
So that's something you think is the norm. He thought it was of note. 19, the husbands come not at their wives till children be weaned. Such was the use read in Hosea 1:8. And he didn't add it because he's a Christian that's probably teaching virgin birth. But no, just as the custom of Joseph didn't know his wife until Yahushua was born. That's why you find the Indians were keeping that same custom. So now you can run that back and tell the simps, yeah, he had sex with her. Then she got pregnant. And then he didn't have sex again until he was born, the same way the Native American Indians did it over here. At Peru, if they be forced, watch this. At Peru, if they be forced to wean them before their time, meaning a preemie, which usually dies. But even if it ain't died, it hasn't developed to full form, right? Watch this. At Peru, if they be forced to wean them before their time, they call such children Ansco. It means bastards. Well, why would they call a baby a bastard just because it's a preemie? Wisdom of Solomon 3:16-19. Get that real quick. You Christian today don't even know this because obviously the obvious reason. They ain't never read the book Wisdom of Solomon. But the same thing the Wisdom of Solomon says here, they clearly had understanding of this. Why would you call a preemie a bastard? Before we get it, can anybody guess why you would call a premature baby a bastard? Nope. Anybody else? Are you there? Go ahead and read it. This is why.
The Book of Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 3:16-19. As for the children of adulterers, they shall not come to their perfection, and the seed of the unrighteous bed shall be rooted out. For
real quick, Salaki, read it again.
As for the children of adulterers, they shall not come to their perfection.
They shall not come to their perfection. A preemie hasn't came to what? It ain't come to its perfection in the womb yet. So they see the preemie, they like, this must be a bastard. It must be from an adulterous bed because God said that they wouldn't come to their food. This child hasn't came to his food. It must be a bastard. Because their belief was God rules everything. If it's a preemie, it must be done by God. That's why it happened. Keep going.
And the seed of an unrighteous bed shall be rooted out. For though they live long, yet shall they be nothing regarded, and their last age shall be without honor. Mm-hmm. Or if they die quickly, they have no hope, neither comfort in the day of trial.
Mhm.
For horrible is the end of the unrighteous generation.
So they believe would call it a bastard because they believed it was conceived off of adultery, like a curse. Exactly. Number 20. Among the Indians, they punished by beating and whipping, and the sachems, if they please, put offenders to death with their own hands, and secretly sometimes send out an executioner, as Mark 6:27 and 2 Corinthians 11:25. 21. If a Brazilian wound another, he must be punished in the same part of his body and with death of this if the other die. For they also answer an eye for an eye, as the law was, Deuteronomy 24:19. When the 22, when the master of the family dies, he is buried in the middle of the house with his jewels and other things he delighted in. The only difference is we didn't bury in the middle of the house. They was off with this because that defiles the whole house. But watch this. We put jewels and riches in with the person that died. The Spaniards were often made rich by such sepultures, and Josephus, so they would rob the sepultures of Native American Indians. And Josephus tells of much treasure laid up even in David's grave. So you could loot our graves and find riches. 23, the Indians are given much to weeping, their women especially, and their burials. This was in fashion among the Jews. You find that Jeremiah 19:17. He calls for the weeping women, remember? Famous for this, they were among the old heathen. 24, balsamum. I think in the Bible it's like balsam, I think it's an herb or an ointment. Was peculiar to the Jewish country and thought to be lost long ago, save Pliny. If it were, it is now found again in America. Just saying this. So this was a big deal to the Jewish customs. It ain't no more over there, but it's in America. How to get in America? They must have brought it. 25, their princes and governors, whom they generally call sachems, sachmos, sagamos, are no other but heads of families, as it was of old in Israel. Number 72. Let's skip that one. Chapter 5. Casta, whatever that name is, affirms the Americans to have ceremonies and customs resembling the Mosaical circumcision. Is frequent among the Indians. They was keeping circumcision. Going down. I'm going to start reading just the highlighted parts. This is, Sacred and Solemn Rites and Customs alike, Chapter 4, if I forgot to mention. Number 3. This is a new list. Number 3. They knew of that flood which drowned the world, and that it was sent for the sin of man, especially for unlawful lust, and that there shall never be such a deluge again. Number 4 is affirmed by them, nevertheless, that after many years, fire shall come down from above and consume all. So it's one thing if they understood about the flood happening. They also have the understanding that next is going to be by fire. They know of the prophecies of the fire and brimstone, of how the world is. Number 7, drop number 7. Priests are in some things among them as the Hebrews, physicians, and not habited as other men. And in Temazulupa, there be vestments kept like those aeronautical robes of the high priest. Shalom. I know it's getting a little boring, but this is undisputable proof. You gotta go through it. Bear with us. Number 8, the temples wherein they worship, sing, pray, and make their offerings are fashioned and used as with the Jews, with the Jews. So the same way the Jews did. At Mexico, they were built 4 square and sumptuous, as you read in Ezekiel 40:47. Number 9, the priests have their chambers in the temple, as the manner was in Israel, in the temple. Remember, and you read in Ezekiel 40, like you said, they built the temple and they built it with little chambers for the priests to stay in. Where am I? 10. They had places also therein which none might enter into but their priests. Hebrews 9:6-7. In the law, nobody can go into the holy place except for the high priest. They were all these things they were mimicking. And they were doing this because they know how it was done. Some people run with it and say, well, America was the Holy Land. No, they knew how it was, where they came from, and they was trying to replicate it. That's all that is. 12, they had almost continual fire before their idols and took great care lest the fire before the altar should die. They call that the divine hearth, where there is fire continually, like that in Leviticus 6:9 and Deuteronomy 32:15 and 18. Remember, the fire had to be continually burning. They were copying that same thing even though they was doing the idol worship. Well, that's why the Europeans were allowed to come in and slaughter and enslave them. But you see that they had started out trying to do the right way. And through time, they have veered off like we always did. 13, none may intermeddle with their sacrifices but the priests, who were also in high estimation among them as they were among the Jews. Remember, so the Jews, it's not really the Jews, the priests, the Levites got first dibs on all the sacrifices. And certain portions were only for the priests. So they was copying that. 14, every nobleman in Mexico had his priest, as Israel had the Levites within their gates. Remember, you read about certain people would have their own priest, give them a place to stay, and he would be their priest, and they would take care of them. You read about that in Judges and other places as well. 14, I read that. 17, the first fruits of their corn they offered, and what they had got by hunting and fishing. Where'd they get that from? What's the Feast of First Fruits about? All Israelite customs, they wouldn't have all these similarities if they was not the people. It's just too many. That's why it might be a little boring, but that's why we're going through this thing, and it's going to be long and drawn out because everything we talk about is proof. It's like presenting evidence at a trial. It's proof after proof after proof after proof, and you gotta be a damn idiot to come back and say not guilty. This is chapter 5, the third conjecture. I think I just wanted to read just the highlighted part again. Yeah. So he has a list. Once again, we're going to point number 2. The name of this talking about Mexico. The name of that great city, Mexico, is observed in sound and writing to come very near unto that name of our dear Lord. Psalms 2 and 2. Can you read that real quick?
Psalms 2.
Yeah. It's other places too, but he's giving us he's talking about the Hebrew of what's wrote in Psalms 2 and 2. He said, Mexico, that's how they pronounce it. And Mexico in their language is a spring as our master and Messiah, the day spring that from on high have visited us. So read that Psalm 2 and 2.
The book of Psalms 2 and 2. The kings of the earth set themselves, and the rulers take counsel together against Yahweh and against his anointed, saying,
It's actually, this time, it's the Lord, and it ain't even Yahweh. See, Psalms 2 and 2, that part is Mashiach. The Hebrew is Mashiach. So Mexico, in Mexican in their language, is the meaning of Mexico is a spring. Psalms 2 and 2, the Lord in that part is Mashiach. In Luke, it explains that talking about the Messiah in Luke 1:78, the day spring that from on high hath visited us. Luke 1:78 is referring to the Messiah. Mashiach and Mexico. Mexico and Mashiach. Mexico means a spring. The Mashiach is the day spring from on high. You see that similarity there? That's what they named the city. Along with all the other things that line up with them being Israelites and being in line with the Bible, the law, the prophets, and even the Gospels. This is just another one. Why would they name the city the spring? And it sounds just like Mashiach. See that? So is that making sense? Khan? Okay. So they named the city Mexico from what now? Mashiach. Exactly. I'm gonna need you in the Bible again. Point 3. Actually, do you got the Blue Letter Bible?
Yeah, I do.
And in the Bible, pull up Isaiah, pull up Blue Letter Bible, but also have Isaiah 13:21 ready.
In the blue letter?
In the Blue Letter. Yeah. So I'll tell you what. We'll read it. We'll read the whole verse, and then we'll go into the Hebrew.
Isaiah 3.
Because that's why I need you in the Blue Letter. Isaiah chapter 13, verse 21. And this is a heavy heavy point. Is really another one of them. Really a coincidence? Nah, most certainly not. This ain't coincidence. This is a people that derived from a people that's been thought to be lost. And it's so, what y'all doing? Y'all gotta chill out, man. For one, you're being very disrespectful. And you're acting like 2-year-olds. You got it? Okay. So now before you read it, I'm going to read what he says. The Zems mentioned in Isaiah 13:21 and 34:14. We only need to read 13:21 though. They are supposed to be wicked spirits, deluding mankind as hobgoblins, fairies, etc. Such are the Zems among the Indians. So the Zems, he's talking about some Zems mentioned in Isaiah. Then the Indians, they have certain people called Zems. Y'all follow me? Where am I at? So such are the Zems among the Indians, so often spoken of by Peter Martyr. These they call the messengers of the great God. Every king among them hath such a Zem or a Zem. So it reads the same, but the Zem from the Bible or Zem, what they call their messenger, who we're reading about. And from them came those predictions constantly current among them of a covered nation that should spoil their rights. So these Zems are predicting their destruction of the nation that would come and destroy them. They're calling them Zems. Now read Isaiah 13:21.
Isaiah chapter 13, verse 21.
So
The wild beasts of the desert shall lie there, and their houses shall be
the wild beasts of remember that, the wild beasts of the desert. And these, he's saying they're supposed, meaning they're assumed to be wicked spirits, deluding mankind. Is the wild beast is the part that the Zems is. So keep going though.
but full of doleful creatures.
Mhm.
And owl shall dwell there, and satire shall come dance there.
Now, satires. Because he's taking the stance that these wild beasts, it's a spiritual reference. It's not literal. So if you look up, and I'm going to look something up because I'm going to agree with him taking that stance. Because look up what a satire is. The Bible says there'll be satires in this land. Same place the wild beasts will be. Right? While I look it up, does anybody know what a satire is? Satyr. Yeah, it's like a demon. It's like something that doesn't exist. Yeah. So are there actually going to be these things dwelling in any land? No, they're not. In maybe like physical form, maybe spirits. Right. So now go back to the top of that verse. The wild beast shall dwell there.
But the wild beasts of the desert shall lie there, and their houses shall be full of doleful creatures. The owls shall dwell there.
And owls shall dwell there. Now, the point was Zems. Go to the Hebrew of what the wild beasts are. Because this dude's saying, just like in the Bible, the Zems in the Bible. This is why I went around the block on this thing. So I hope y'all keep up. I know y'all ain't keeping up. That's a shame. But that's okay. He's comparing the Zems in the Bible to they have Zems among them. The people they call Zems that basically prophesy of destruction and the messengers and whatever. We know that the left-handed spirits are also messengers from the Most High, right? Okay. So what's the Hebrew for the wild beasts of the desert? He's saying it's calling them the wild beasts of the desert really because they're wicked spirits. It symbolizes wicked spirits. You don't know how to pull it up. You click on the verse. You just click on the verse. Hold on. Shit, get back in there. So, verse 21. Yeah, click it. Yeah, you got to just tap it. You can't hold your finger on there too long, or it'll start to highlight. So I got. Quiet, please. Wild beasts of the desert. The Hebrew is Zem. Wild beast. Anyway, it's Za, Ya, and then Ma. So that's where he's getting Zine. Y'all follow me?
Yeah.
So the same way as the Zims are in the Bible, which are wicked spirits, he's saying they have people among them that are sent and I guess moving off of their wicked spirits amongst them. And they call them Zims. So that was the whole point. I know I'm long-winded with it, and I went through a lot. Who doesn't understand the similarity? He's comparing the Indians to the Bible. Everybody follow what I just brought out? Point 5. 'Tis very remarkable that Escarbatus tells how he heard the Indians often perfectly Okay. All right. I think we're back. Salakia for the interference. The computer accidentally died, but looking at the time, actually, we should wrap it up. We've been on for 2 hours and 49 minutes. So, yeah, we'll pick. That was part 1. So that was part 1. This is the no thanks, no giving series we're doing this month. Leading up to Thanksgiving that everybody's going to be celebrating November 20, whatever. Nobody really cares the date, but because we don't celebrate that bull. But this is part 1 of our series, No Thanks, No Giving. Next week, we're going to pick back up with part 2. So wherever we were at when we had the technical difficulty, that's where we'll be picking right back up next week. Hope the class was edifying. I want to end by once again giving all praise. Hey, just wait a second. We almost through this thing. I want to end by giving all praise, glory, and honor to Yahweh by Shema Mashiach, Yahweh Shai. Until next week, say Shabbat Shalom and Kwam Yashala.
Kwam Yashala.
I gotta end this out.